what's up everybody? It is Mark with the My Front Range Living Team, and today we are talking about earnest money and how it's impacted both deposited and can be taken back in a real estate transaction here in Colorado. We're going to get started right now. Hey, what's going on everybody? It is Mark with the My Front Range Living Team powered by RE/MAX Integrity, and today, we're talking about that earnest money deposit. We've had a lot of questions. So people come and they're looking to buy a house in Colorado, and some people haven't bought a house in a while. Some people need to know what it looks like in Colorado. Earnest money is a big deal. Earnest money is just another way to say deposit. That's really all it is when it comes to a real estate transaction. It's you making a good faith deposit to the seller saying, I'd like to buy your house. And that's fine, but a few things that a lot of folks don't understand about earnest money. The first thing you have to know about earnest money, it's hard money. It is hard. Like, you've got to make an earnest money deposit. You're gonna have to write a check or wire funds or a cashier's check, whatever that looks like. Earnest money is due typically within 72 hours of a mutually executed contract, which means, hey, you got the contract, we're moving forward with yours, congratulations. You need to be prepared to either drop a check off, send a check, get a wire transfer ready, whatever that looks like, coordinate wiring, all that good stuff, typically within 72 hours, and the title company or the real estate company will hold that money until closing. It's not an additional fee, it's just a good faith deposit on your behalf saying, I want your house. And should you not be able to perform on the transaction per the contract, then the seller's going to get that money back. Well, that's where a lot of confusion and concern comes in with people. Well, so I don't really want the house anymore. Am I going to lose my money? The answer, short answer, is no, you're not. As a matter of fact, as we were researching this and we put down everything where you can come out of a contract and still get your earnest money back, I was really blown away. So let's start with the seller's property disclosure. The seller's property disclosure is given to the buyer by the seller, and that says, hey, we know of this issue, we know of this issue. Let's example. Hey, in 2020 we had a hailstorm, and the roof was damaged, and we had the roof replaced. This is who replaced it, and it's under warranty. Here you go. That's where you go through everything. Hey, we had a leak. Hey, we had meth in the house. Hey, we had a hailstorm. Hey, we had wind damage to our roof. Hey, the fence blew over. So the seller's property disclosure is one of those places that, hey, I just read this and I'm spooked. I want my money back. Great. You cut ties, you cancel the transaction, you get your money back. Same goes for lead-based paint. Now, we're not seeing this as often simply because I believe it's January 1st of 1978. Anything prior to that date requires a lead-based paint disclosure, and most of the transactions we deal with are post that date. So January 1st, 1978 and to now doesn't require lead-based paint. But those that do, hey, the house was built in 1950 and we think that there could be lead-based paint in here. Nope, that doesn't work for me. You can cancel the transaction and get your earnest money back. Due diligence documents. Hey, the refrigerator warranty card never got registered, and so it's not under warranty anymore, even though it's 20 years old. Hey, that's a deal breaker for me. You read those documents from the seller and you're just like, no, this doesn't work. I have an uneasy feeling. You can cut ties on the transaction and get your earnest money back. Insurance. Let's say that you call your insurance company and you're like, here's all the details of my lovely new house that I'm under contract on, and it's delightful. I like everything about it. And your insurance agent says, that's great. Your premium's going to be $1 gazillion a year. Well, $1 gazillion is tough to come by for most people on an annual basis. You can cut ties on that transaction and you can get your earnest money back. If you don't like the terms of your insurance policy on that house, you can either A, keep shopping, or B, you can cancel the transaction and get your earnest money back. And then the survey. Let's say for whatever reason, a title or the lending company needs a survey. You have a surveyor come out and the lot isn't as large as you thought it was based on that new survey. You can cut ties, you can get your earnest money back. The inspection, a huge one. This is probably the number one reason that most folks that we work with cancel, and that is the inspection. The inspector comes in and says this. There are a couple issues you need to be aware of, so on and so forth. You can cut ties at the inspection objection and terminate that contract, you can get your earnest money back. HOAs, everybody's favorite topic. If you want to know more about HOAs, check out our video here. Pretty informative stuff. But HOA documents, the seller is required to provide the buyer with the association documents, and if the buyer's like, wait a minute, you mean I can't paint my house purple whenever I want to? No, you can't. Well, that's a deal breaker for me, because that's the first thing I was going to do was go Barney on this place. And so now you're not able to do that. Nope, I'm out. I terminate. I get my earnest money back, okay? Title company. Let's say the title kicks back something that says, yeah, there's a lien on the house from a fence contractor that didn't get paid 2 decades ago. Hey, I don't want a title that's encumbered. I'm cutting ties. I'm going to get my earnest money back. Contingencies. This is an interesting one. Now, contingent offers aren't the strongest offers right now in a seller's market, but if you're contingent on the sale of your house and maybe your house just doesn't sell or it falls through or whatever, you can cut ties before that date and you can get your earnest money back. The appraisal, let's say, and we've talked about appraisal gaps and everything else, and if you want to know more about appraisal gaps, check out this video. But let's say you don't put an appraisal gap in and the house has to appraise at a certain price point and it doesn't. You can do one of two things. You can go back and you can negotiate with the sellers and you can say, hey, the appraisal came back here and this is where we're going to buy it. Or, you guessed it, you can cut ties on the transaction, terminate, and get your earnest money back. And then the last one that we typically see is we go right up until a week before closing. And that is the loan availability or the loan terms objection. And that means, hey, we're finally putting the bow on this loan. It's going to underwriting right now. It just came out and underwriting says we got to raise it a point and you got to pay 12% interest on the house. Nope, not doing that. You can terminate up to that date and still get your earnest money back. And that so that kind of really encapsulates all the places you can terminate. Now, granted, all of those termination items that I gave you just now, those are based upon the contract and the dates. They have to be within the date, meaning if your inspection and termination date was 2 weeks ago, but you sat on some information just kind of wanting to mull it over and then you want to terminate, you can't terminate for that. That's not a viable reason. You have to do it within the dates of the contract here in Colorado, and that's something to keep in mind. But all of those things that I just mentioned are ways that you can terminate your contract and get your earnest money back. Like I said, that earnest money is just a good faith deposit telling the sellers, no, we really want this house. So that's all it is. Now, if you cancel or terminate outside of any of those dates for any of those reasons, you could be looking at the seller keeping that earnest money. So that's something to keep in mind. Hey, if you have questions in that space, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. We would be happy to help any way that we can. As always, we hope that you found value in today's content. We are putting out content every single week to help you make Colorado Springs feel like home. If you have other questions, you can hit our website in the description below, myfrontrangeliving.com. Lots of information for you there. You can even look at houses via our website, and we also have some other valuable information that you might like. If you are thinking about moving to Colorado Springs, we also have our relocation guide available for download in the description down there. It just gives you a little more information on some of the different areas here in Colorado Springs that might meet your criteria. Hey, as always, thank you so much for stopping by. I am Mark with My Front Range Living. We look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day.